She messaged me right after walking out of our anniversary dinner. "Don't wait, I'm crashing at his place tonight." I didn't wait. Why would I? I shut off her phone line, removed her from my insurance, and neatly packed every piece of her stuff. When she showed up the next morning, her keycard beeped red, her phone service was dead, and she had to use a random woman's phone just to plead for me to open the door. I didn't. Before I dive deeper into the story, make sure you're subscribed and tap that like button if you want more stories like this. Alright, let's rewind. My name's Alex. I was 34, working as an IT consultant in a decent-sized city. Nothing glamorous, but I earned well and lived comfortably. I met Jenna 5 years earlier at a backyard barbecue hosted by mutual friends. She was 29 then, charismatic, ambitious, a marketing professional constantly talking about how she'd conquer the corporate world. I fell fast. Her energy felt electric. Within a year, we moved into an apartment that I paid for while she figured things out. From day one, I carried the weight. Rent, utilities, most expenses, so she could focus on chasing her goals. When she decided to enroll in a part-time graduate program, I took on extra freelance work just to fund her tuition. Even on nights when I dragged myself home exhausted, I cooked dinner, planned surprise trips, anything to keep her spirits high. I remember one night early on, she broke down over a big presentation, sobbing about feeling like an imposter. I stayed up until 3 a.m., rehearsing lines, polishing slides, reassuring her she was unstoppable. "Alex, you're my anchor," she'd whisper, holding me tight. And I believed her. I even turned down promotions that demanded travel because she wanted me close. "We need consistency," she'd insist, and I took her word like gospel. She'd say it like gospel, and I'd nod along, convinced we were building a future together. But somewhere over the past year, the tone of our relationship shifted. She started coming home late from industry mixers, glued to her phone, giggling at conversations I wasn't included in. The comparisons began subtly. "You know, Ryan from marketing just landed a 6-figure campaign and is flying to Berlin tomorrow." Except it wasn't Ryan, it was always Mark. That name slipped into conversations more than I cared to notice. I brushed it off as casual admiration, but then she began pointing out my flaws. "You're too routine, Alex. Same rhythm every day." It hurt, but I stayed quiet. I told myself all couples go through valleys, so I tried even harder to be the steady partner she needed. Our 5th anniversary was near, and I wanted to make it unforgettable. I booked a candlelit reservation at her favorite Italian bistro downtown, ordered a bouquet, and bought a necklace she'd been eyeing online for weeks. That morning I sent, "Can't wait for tonight. Love you." She reacted with a simple heart emoji, and when I kissed her goodbye, she seemed mentally somewhere else. We met at the restaurant after work. She arrived in a stunning crimson dress I hadn't seen before, and I handed her the flowers, saying, "Happy anniversary, here's to us." She smiled, but the warmth felt hollow. We ordered starters, and I brought up long-term plans, buying a house, maybe traveling together more. She nodded with forced enthusiasm while scrolling through her messages under the table. Mid-entree, she set her fork down. "Alex, I need to leave. Emergency team meeting." "On our anniversary?" I stared at her, stunned. She was already grabbing her coat. "Relax, it's important. Mark needs me for the pitch." That name again. My chest tightened, but I stayed composed. I've never been one for scenes. Then she muttered, "He actually takes risks, unlike some people who just stay comfortable." She said it jokingly, but it cut deep. She leaned down, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "Don't wait. I'll probably crash somewhere if it runs late." And just like that, she walked out, leaving me alone with untouched pasta and a bill that suddenly felt heavier than the room itself. I lingered, fingers brushing the gift box in my pocket, feeling foolish. The waiter offered a sympathetic half-smile as I paid. Back home, I wandered the apartment in silence, replaying her words, predictable, safe, echoing like accusations I never asked to hear. I'd poured years of myself into that relationship, sacrificing pieces of my future for something I thought was ours. About an hour later, my phone buzzed with a message that shattered whatever was left. "Don't bother waiting. I'm at his place tonight. We'll talk tomorrow, but honestly, I've outgrown this. Mark understands me in ways you never did. It's over. His place. Mark's. No subtlety, no confusion. She was cheating and ending our relationship over text on our anniversary. I stared at the message, heart hammering, and for a moment the urge to call her, to yell, to demand answers burned through my chest. But then it hit me. I had been her cushion, her fallback, not her partner. I didn't respond. Instead, I poured a drink and sat in the dim living room, letting the sting settle. Why now? Why like this? It felt cruel, calculated. But begging wasn't going to change her mind. I needed to protect whatever dignity I had left. By dawn, I'd made decisions. I handled the practical things first. Her phone was on my plan because her credit was wrecked from student debt, her insurance tied to my job, every financial safety net connected to me. We weren't married, so nothing legal bound us. I logged in, terminated her line, removed her from my health and auto coverage, and closed out shared accounts. It felt cold, but so did her message. Then I boxed her things, clothes, makeup, even that framed degree I worked overtime to fund, and lined everything by the door. Around noon, the lock rattled. Then she started pounding. "Alex, my key isn't working. Open up." I cracked the door with the chain still on. She stood there, smudged mascara, dead phone in hand. "Let me inside." I kept my voice steady. "You said we needed to talk. This is that." She sighed, irritated rather than remorseful. "Last night was impulsive. Just open the door. My battery died, and why are my bags here?" Impulsive. She claimed staying at his place and ending things was just a slip-up. I reminded her what she wrote. She rolled her eyes. "Yes, Mark. We've been seeing each other for a while. He motivates me. You're just stagnant. Same job, same pace. I want more than comfortable." More. After everything I'd invested, covering rent between her jobs, paying tuition, choosing stability over promotions, she dismissed it with a scoff. "That was your choice, not some sacrifice I begged for. You smothered me. Mark doesn't coddle. He challenges me. We're equals. You're fine for someone who likes average." I held the doorframe tighter, but kept calm. "So your solution is betrayal because I'm steady," she shrugged. "It's not cheating if I'm ending it. I'm just growing past you. Maybe find someone as boring as you." Then she tried pushing the door open. "Now move. I need my stuff and to fix my phone. I have work calls." I shook my head. "It's not your phone anymore. Service is canceled. Insurance too. The apartment's in my name. You're not listed." Her face contorted. "Are you serious? That's childish. How am I supposed to manage?" I stared back. "You ended things, via text, on our anniversary. I'm just following through." She snapped, swearing, threatening to call others. I nodded toward the boxes. "Everything is here. Take it and leave." She stormed off, then returned dragging a neighbor into it, borrowing their phone. "Alex, this is absurd. Let me in. I need my charger at least." I exhaled slowly. "No, goodbye." She snatched a couple boxes and left in a cab, likely to Mark's place. When the door finally closed, the silence felt heavier than the betrayal. I'd been devoted. I'd built a life for two, and she tossed me aside like discarded packing paper, somehow flipping the narrative so I looked like the villain. But I didn't chase her. That same afternoon, I swapped out the locks, just to be safe. The days that followed blurred into a numb fog. I kept the breakup quiet at first, taking a short leave from work under personal reasons, trying to process her words echoing like poison. Outgrown you. Mediocre. Safe. I replayed memories, like last Christmas when I surprised her with passes to a conference she'd dreamed of attending, and she threw her arms around me saying, "You're unbelievable." Now it felt less like appreciation and more like I'd been a convenient stepping stone. I didn't rant online or gather sympathy. Instead, I withdrew. Blocked her everywhere, socials, email, messaging, and started rebuilding my routine. I finally joined a gym, something I'd postponed because she'd complain about gross evening workouts. I cooked for myself, tried new recipes, picked up responsibilities I'd shelved for her. At work, I finally chased the remote-friendly promotion with higher pay, even though it required travel, the very thing I'd avoided because she needed stability. Weeks passed with silence. Mutual friends reached out, confused, asking what happened. I kept answers short. We didn't work out. But rumors trickled in. Jenna had been hinting on social media about finding her fire, dropping vague jabs that painted me as dull. A friend eventually pulled me aside. "Man, she's with Mark now. She's bragging. Says you're unstable and locked her out like a psycho." The humiliation stung, but I chose restraint. Therapy helped. My therapist told me plainly, "You were committed to a fantasy, not a partner." And that truth landed hard. Then, slowly, consequences for her choices surfaced. Mark was married. His wife discovered the messages and confronted both of them, dragging the situation through HR because they worked together. Jenna ended up fired with no severance, branded as a liability. Without income, her lifestyle collapsed. No designer weekends, no luxury trips, no bills magically handled. Her debt mounted. She moved back to her mother's cramped apartment, the same one she used to mock as small-town prison. Friends began distancing, too. Some openly told me they unfollowed her after seeing her posts shading me. Online, she tried painting herself as the victim, but commenters called her out. "You cheated on anniversary night. Own it." After the divorce drama, Mark ghosted her completely. The relationship turned explosive, screaming matches, controlling behavior, and one incident that nearly turned into a restraining order before she backed off to avoid more exposure. She was left broke, jobless, isolated, reputation in tatters. The same woman who mocked me for being steady was now desperate for the stability she once despised. I didn't feel joy, just clarity. I focused on myself, took the promotion, traveled to conferences, met new people, dated casually, remembered that I wasn't actually boring, just held back. Then the messages started. First, a new email. "We need to talk. Things with Mark weren't what I thought. Can I come get my coat?" I deleted it. Then calls from unknown numbers, voicemails dripping with regret. "My life's collapsing. I miss us. Please call." Silence from me. Eventually, her mother got involved, demanding I man up and take her back because Jenna was struggling. I calmly shut it down. As begging failed, the tone shifted to anger. Accusations, guilt trips, claims I owed her because I'd strung her along. She even threatened to show up at my workplace and slander me publicly. I stayed quiet, documented everything, and refused to be pulled back into her chaos. Months later, her bitterness spilled into our social circles, but it only isolated her more. I kept living. Therapy ended. I felt grounded again, grateful the breakup happened instead of fearing it. She had traded loyalty for thrill and lost everything she thought she deserved. I didn't have to lift a finger. Life handled the response for me. 6 months later came the final test, Dave's wedding. I almost skipped it, but he insisted, "You belong there, man." I decided to attend the wedding, not to prove anything, but to show that the past no longer held power over me. I arrived with Lisa, my new partner and coworker I'd met at a tech summit. Smart, grounded, and refreshingly honest. She understood my history and respected the boundaries I'd rebuilt. The ceremony felt warm and elegant, the reception buzzing with music and laughter. I was catching up with friends when Jenna suddenly showed up, looking worn out, hair messy, dress wrinkled like she rushed straight from chaos. Eyes swollen, she stormed toward me. "Alex, we need to talk, right now." Lisa gave me a questioning glance, and I stepped aside calmly. Out in the garden, Jenna broke down, voice shaky, hands trembling. "Look at me. I've lost everything. No job, no home. Mark screwed me over. Being here made me realize what I threw away. You treated me better than anyone. Please, just give me one more chance. I'll cut him off, I'll get help, whatever you want." Her eyes flicked toward Lisa inside, bitterness flaring. Who is she? You replaced me that fast after preaching loyalty? I looked straight at her, voice steady. You chose to betray us. You dragged my name through the mud. I rebuilt my life because I had to, not because I wanted to replace you. I have a career that challenges me now. I travel. And I'm with someone who respects what I bring to the table. You're a closed chapter. The night you walked away was the ending. She shook her head, desperation turning sharp. You'll regret this. You'll end up alone, without me. I simply turned back toward the lights and music. Highly unlikely. Returning inside, Lisa squeezed my hand gently. You all right? More than all right, I answered, finally meaning it. Jenna slipped out unnoticed, while friends whispered about how far I'd come compared to her downfall. That night was the last time I ever saw her. No messages, no apologies, just silence. She became a memory. I moved forward, unburdened, rebuilding my life on self-worth instead of sacrifice. Thanks for reading. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments below.